I know Oregon's still losing, and it's only one touchdown they scored, but boy, that feels like a big touchdown for Oregon there at the end of that first half, doesn't it? Nothing went right for Oregon in that first half, and it's not really any one thing like to point to. They got outplayed everywhere and outcoached. I thought Oregon lost the lines of scrimmage on both sides of the ball in that half. They had no success at all running the ball up the middle. Washington was eaten that alive. Uh, Missed tackles by Oregon defensively, particularly in the secondary. Receivers for Washington running open, no pressure on Penix at all. And Oregon did absolutely nothing, basically the entire first half until that last sort of minute and a half drive they had to close out the half. They did have a field goal drive earlier, but that feels like a huge drive there for Oregon because if they have to go into the half down 20-3 with just nothing going right for them in the first half, I don't know if like mentally and emotionally they can muster up whatever they would need to try to come back, and they still might not. They're getting whipped by Washington here. And as good as that last drive was offensively for Oregon, they still got to figure something out defensively because Washington has moved up and down the field. I think they only punted one time in the first half, Washington. So Oregon still got a long way to go, down 20-10, and they've got to figure out a way to slow down this Washington offense. They got to get off the field on third down. Oregon does too. It seems like, well, it doesn't seem, Washington has had multiple third downs on every possession, and they just keep converting, keep converting. They got to figure out a way Oregon does to get off the field on third down, but that touchdown feels huge for Oregon heading into the second half. And look, we want to see a good game. Now, Washington fans, yeah, you're up 20-3, you're loving life, but like the rest of us, just college football people, we want to see a good game, right? So we'll see. It's halftime. Your score: Washington 20, Oregon 10. And the winner's headed to the playoffs. I really don't see. I know there's a million scenarios that people want to talk about all week long. I feel like I can't listen to one more playoff scenario question. Like I'm just, it's just been talked about so much now over the last week. But it's hard for me to imagine the winner of this game not getting in, regardless of what happens in the rest of the games tomorrow. Now, the games tomorrow, yeah, there's going to be a lot of questions even after the games are played. If Alabama beats Georgia, what else happens? Does Texas or Florida State lose, or Michigan lose, or do two of them lose to make room for Bama to get in? What if Washington wins, and Georgia wins, and Michigan wins, and Florida State wins, and Texas wins? Texas could be left out at 12-1, Big 12 champion, win over Bama, and not get. So we won't. No matter what happens tomorrow, we're gonna have a bunch of questions heading into Sunday. But as far as just this game in and of itself right here, I'm pretty confident the winner of this game is getting in, regardless of what else happens tomorrow. So I don't know. We'll see what happens in the second half. Bo Nix did not play well. The dink and dunk thing. And you know what's weird is on that last drive, when they did throw the ball downfield, like good things happened. They had that 20 or 30-yard pass on that little outside seam route where the guy got loose and picked up 30 or 40 yards or whatever it was. And then they had the deep pass into the end zone where Washington got called for pass interference. So I don't know, but yeah, the dink and dunk, it's got to be frustrating even for Oregon fans to watch that, I would think. But look, Oregon's going to have to come up with something on the ground. I mean, Bo Nix has had a good year. This can't be Bo Nix throwing the ball in the flat another 100 times in the second half. Oregon's going to have to figure out a way to get something going on the ground with those running backs. Maybe run Bo Nix a little more. They ran him that one time down near the goal line and almost scored. There at the end of the first half, Bo Nix got down to like the 1 or the 2, whatever it was, and they ended up scoring a couple of plays later. But they're going to have to figure out a way to run the ball. And like I said, defensively, as good as that last drive was for Oregon, they better come up with something defensively, or Washington's just going to keep scoring. And it's not going to matter what Oregon does offensively if they don't get a couple of stops here in the second half and get Penix off the field on these third downs. But anyway, I got to take a breath. Championship weekend is underway. I like that the Pac-12 plays on Friday night. A lot of people complain, cry, whatever. It's stupid it's on a Friday. Now, I'll admit, I don't, I wouldn't want like, the SEC, Georgia playing on Friday. I probably wouldn't like that either. But like, again, as a college football fan, I like that one of these games is on Friday because it gives you an opportunity to watch more games than you would if they were all being played on the same day. We already have a situation tomorrow night where you've got the ACC championship game and the Big Ten championship game on at the same time. I would assume most people would watch the ACC championship game instead of the Big Ten, because I think it's, most people think Michigan's just going to run over Iowa and it's not going to be close, whereas the ACC championship game could be pretty interesting. Jordan Travis down. Now news comes out that Roadrunner, the backup quarterback, may or may not play tomorrow. We'll see. They might have to go with a third option at quarterback, Florida State. And plus, boy, the thought of Florida State being 13-0 if they win that game but not getting in. I can't imagine that happening. But maybe I'm wrong. There are a lot of people that seem to think a 13-0 Florida State might and should get left out. I don't know. Anyway, we'll find out about all that tomorrow when those games are played. My streaming schedule tomorrow, of course, 9 a.m. the college football kickoff show will be live right here on YouTube. We'll talk about all of tomorrow's games. And then I'm going to do the Patreon stream at 4 o'clock, which is the SEC championship game, and the YouTube stream at 8 o'clock, which is the ACC and the Big Ten championship game. So all of you who are on the Patreon page, you know the deal. Starts at 4. So around 3:45, I'll post a link on Patreon. Head on over to the Patreon page, click the link. It'll take you to the live stream for the 4 o'clock SEC championship game. The YouTube stream at 8, it'll be on YouTube. Y'all know how that works. If you want to check the Patreon page out, there will be a link in the description of this video. Get yourself signed up. We'll watch the SEC championship game tomorrow at 4 o'clock. But anyway, good luck to Oregon. Good luck to Washington. I'm hoping for a good second half, just because I want to watch the game and be entertained. But we'll see. Oregon was a 9 or a 10-point favorite here. Boy, they don't look like a 9 or a 10-point favorite in that first half. But we'll see. I've been watching football a long time. I've seen a lot of shit change at halftime. So we'll see what happens in the second half. But anyway, have a good morning.